Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through how I get the bright, vivid, contrast, basic edit for this is great for senior pictures or couples or I mean just really anything in general. She really wanted like an urban matte vibe with her pictures, so I'm just gonna go with this one. It's a close up of her face. Um, and I have a lot of presets on here. Like a lot of them I've bought, and I love a lot of them, but I really love creating my own and just kind of creating my own style with everything. And down here, you'll see in the user presets, I name a lot of my presets after like the name of my clients. So like see you here, you see Amber. I did Brody's pictures, Carolyn, Chelsea, that type of thing. So since I worked on Kylie's session last night, I already have her presets saved. And saving presets is really easy. It cuts down on your workflow time, so you don't have to like go in and make every single adjustment on the same picture over and over and over again. So you just basically click it and make minor adjustments because the lighting and like the exposure might not be the same for every image. Um, so like you can see here up in the little window box, the difference that it makes just right there. It's really awesome. I love it. Like you can just peep through and like change just to kind of get a preview of what it's going to be like. So, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to click on Kylie and it's going to change the whole image. So with Lightroom, it's really important to remember that it's okay if your image looks a little bit blown out because when you print it, it's not going to be as bright because our computer screens aren't calibrated to the printers. So it's okay for it to be a little bit, brighter. It also adds a little more character to the images. So with the Kylie preset, right here, this is called your radial filter, and you'll see it, you can just kind of drag your mouse over everything. Um, and this right here is called soft center light. And you can see right here where it's highlighted in the red and everything. And this basically is just like a blown out exposure. It's called dodging. So you can adjust it and make it as dark as you want it, as light as you want it. So like I said, I'm going to go a little bit lighter and kind of drop the shadows down a little bit because she's got some major shadows going over here, but I kind of like that. And you don't have to like make every single adjustment on the shadows. Like it's okay to have character and stuff in your pictures. So what I'm going to do next is take my adjustment brush and I'm going to kind of brush over her skin. I'm going to use this Baby, my absolute favorite. The clarity right here is what blurs out these these little bumps and just basically gives you, the Photoshop effect. So I like to turn it all the way down. And then I'm going to go over here to my size and just kind of get a broader, so you can see right here, and you want to make sure to blend it into the hairline. Make sure you get under the eyes really great. Smooth out all those edges. And it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to take away every single flaw, and that's okay. You don't want your client to look like they don't, like a Barbie, like they're not even real. It's basically just kind of softening things up a bit. See how much better that looks? Wow! So also take, and do little places on the skin to kind of make sure that her face isn't the only thing that gets edited. So that's really great. I love that. And then when you get done, click done. So with the Kylie preset, you can see that I have my highlight changed. I didn't make any adjustment to the exposure because I had the filter put on there just in the center. I adjusted the shadows down a little bit to kind of give it a little more, you know, some more of that dark matte you see here and around the edges, and it just really intensifies things. I turned up the whites to kind of blow out the background a little bit to give it, you know, a more edgier look. And you can either make the blacks more in depth or completely blow them out for a more light and airy feel. That's totally up to you, but for this particular photo, I'm going to bring them down just to give it more depth. This clarity right here, I like to drag it up just a little bit. Vibrance just really livens up the image. It makes everything look so great. So the temperature, this is, you can make your image really, really cool or really, really warm. And by warm, I mean yellow, cool is blue. So that's, to me right there, it doesn't really give the urban type feel like she wants. So I'm going to go a little bit cooler. And the more yellow you have, the more green, it's more vivid with everything, you can see. It's just to kind of deepen it. And you know what? I'm actually going to go a little bit cooler. And this is really, you know, just to what you think looks best, your opinion. This right here is called a tone curve. This adjusts the curve for highlight, light, darks, and shadows. I pulled the shadows down. That gives it matte. The lights, you know, you see everything. So I'm just going to show you what the shadows does. When you pull the shadows down, that gives a really matte effect. And I don't really want that much matte because I've already adjusted the clarity and the shadows and the blacks up here. So I don't really want too much of that to give so, like, you don't want the outside to be like super harsh and look like those old-timey photos that you get done when you go on vacation. I mean, you can, it's totally up to you, but I personally don't like it. I don't really mess with these toggles very much, but I do always make sure I sharpen my image. It makes everything look a lot better. So you see right now it's at 0 and I'm taking it up. See how much, like, it just looks so much better. The noise reduction, if you look here in this little navigation box, you will see that it takes away a lot of that noise from sharpening. Because when you sharpen, you get noise. And that's very important to remember. It softens up the image a little bit, but also with this sharpening toggle, it keeps it, it's like the perfect balance. So that's really just, you know, a matter of what you like the most and how you think it's going to look. Excuse me. This highlight priority, it basically just creates like this dark that looks awful. Like, we don't want that. You can add it to your image if that's what you want, but like I said, I already added the contrast and everything up here. So I already have the dark edges. And grain it makes it, see, I don't really care too much for that whenever I'm working with a senior. But I also have another brush that I use. for these close-ups. So I'm going to take my brush. First I'm going to get super close on the eye. And this is the Iris Enhanced brush. I'm just going to take it and go right over the eye. And for this eye, I'm going to reduce the shadows a little bit, so that way it's not so dark, and this one's like super light over here. And then I'm going to click done because I don't want the same settings from this eye to be for this eye. And this one is out of focus because my focal point was on her eye. And when you shoot, that's very, very important to have your focal point centered on the eyes.